We've been programmed for a very long time to believe that we can't heal ourselves, that we have to go to a doctor, that we have to trust what a doctor tells us. To actually take control of your own health, I think, is one of the biggest acts of rebellion you can do. The other one is to grow your own food. There are two places that you must never be in your life if you want to be healthy. One is the supermarket, the other is a doctor's surgery.
I recently discovered that over half the people who regularly listen to this show still haven't hit subscribe. So let me ask you this. If you're looking for conversations that challenge your thinking, help you to rise above the noise, and give you the tools to live more freely, then please hit that subscribe button. We're on a mission to reach over 50,000 subscribers so we can get these bold, uncensored conversations in front of the people who need them most. And here's my commitment to you. Every single week, I'll show up with the most courageous guests, the deepest insights, and the truth that most people are too afraid to say out loud. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement. So if you're with us, subscribe now and let's build something that truly matters.
In a world dominated by big pharma, is natural health an act of rebellion? Today's guest is someone who embodies the wellness way, the way to natural healing. Not only is she an advocate, a practitioner, but someone who is leading change in this field. So our guest today is Philly J. Lay. Delighted to have you back on the show. Speaker, author, wellness trailblazer, truth teller, host of the Natural Wellness podcast, the Wellness Way podcast.
The Wellness Way.
The Wellness Way podcast, author of the Natural Wellness Journal, now visionary force behind the Wellness Way Festival, which I'm delighted to be part of, which we'll talk about later on. Going to be a powerful gathering designed to bring together natural health practitioners, seekers, free thinkers to reclaim their health, reconnect with nature, and rise above the noise. So, Philly, it's great to have you here on the show and really excited to talk about this exciting project.
It's lovely to be here, and I'm thrilled that you're going to be hosting a panel at the festival, and you're going to be there all day with your cameras as well, and just thrilled to have you there, Dan.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be there and looking forward to it. And I'm envisioning a beautiful sunny day. You're walking out in the fields, meeting lots of really interesting people. Can't wait for it.
We're in the woods. We're in the Wasing Woods. It's normally home of Medicine Festival, but they didn't hold one this year, so I got it.
Wow. Lucky for us. We're going to have this beautiful space. Now, I'm curious to know your thoughts. I opened up by saying in a world obsessed with big pharma, is natural health an act of rebellion? What's your thoughts on that?
It absolutely is. We've been programmed for a very long time to believe that we can't heal ourselves, that we have to go to a doctor, that we have to trust what a doctor tells us. 40% of what a doctor will learn at university is completely out of date by the time he qualifies, but they never have time to go back and relearn it. So they just kind of look up and kind of go, oh, what's the symptom? Here's the drug. And, so to actually take control of your own health, I think, is one of the biggest acts of rebellion you can do. The other one is to grow your own food. There are two places that you must never be in your life if you want to be healthy. One is the supermarket. The other is a doctor's surgery.
Absolutely. We're actually, as it happens this morning, we've just cleared out a space in my garden to grow some food. I want to make a little project for my son. So really excited about that taking off. Still some stuff. Now, for those who don't know your story, Philly, what's been your catalyst? What's been your journey into natural healing? Was there a moment that changed everything for you where the conventional path no longer made sense?
So 11 years ago, I had a spinal fusion and they missed my spine with the anesthetic and I nearly died. So I spent 2 years of my life in bed, addicted to opioids and alcohol. But that wasn't my awakening. I just kind of thought that was how I had to live now. I was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic fatigue, chronic brain fog, frozen shoulder, tons of autoimmune diseases. And I kind of thought that was normal because, I'd down my opioids with a few bottles of wine a day, knocked myself out into oblivion. And then one day I noticed this big lump in my throat and I thought, okay, I've got to go see my doctor. So I went to my doctor, and it was a tumor and I was told I had to have it out. It was benign, but it had grown over my thyroid. And they said, we have to get that out. It's just engulfing your whole thyroid. But at the moment, we can maybe try and save half your thyroid. And I'm like, okay. And also because they said, it's a cancer tumor. That's scary. You're taught to be afraid. So it's like, okay, I'll have it out. But I went to see tons of other practitioners, so specialists, and I'm going, frozen shoulder, and they're going, I'm going to operate, 20% chance of it working. Here's a cortisone, a steroid injection. And I just remember screaming, going, oh my God, that hurt. And he went, don't be so stupid. It's a needle prick. And so I'm seeing all these consultants and going, is it all connected? And they don't know. They have no idea. It's just their section of the body that they deal with. So I had the tumor out, and then I decided to give up medicine, and I decided to go on a journey and heal myself naturally. And I'm now, in my 60s, and I think I've done bloody well. And when you know what to do, it's actually very easy. And then you discover that you've been lied to, that you have been made to feel insignificant and stupid and uneducated if you question the system. And I just thought, no, I'm not having this. I'm going to go and learn. So I went on, a 7-year journey. It was a real eye opener, and I went down more rabbit holes than I'd had hot dinners. But I've done really well. I admit quite freely that when I started my journey, because I was so afraid of the word cancer, I became very, very fanatical. So I gave up all sugars, which includes carbohydrates, alcohol, any food that was non-organic, really clean, healthy living. And actually, I was putting just as much stress on my body doing that as I was being ill. And so I had to find a way of living by the 80-20 rule, which is what I do now. And I just have habits, things that I do every day. And, that I call them my daily essentials. They're in my book as my daily essentials. And the first one is I meditate when I get up in the morning. I intermittent fast, when I occasionally have a shower, which I did today. Then I make sure that the shower goes on cold for a minute or two. I get my feet on the ground. I walk in nature. I hug a tree. I have flavonoid soups and smoothies, and, I eat the colors of the rainbow. And once that becomes a lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. And then when somebody tries to kind of go, have this piece of shit food, you just go, I really don't want that, and I smell the chemicals. If I have to walk down a high street, which I don't very often, I will smell the fast food and the seed oils, and it actually makes me physically retch. Running through an airport is very funny because I can smell all the toxins from all the perfumes and all the makeup. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just like, it's like my children go, stop it. Okay. And they go, just walk through an airport. Okay. I can't.
Well, I was pleased to say I've got at least 4 or 5 of those habits dialed in myself. So really, really pleased to hear that. And yeah, transformative makes such a difference. Let us know in the comments which of those habits you've got dialed in and which ones you need to work on. Now, you've been outspoken about the dangers of our current health system. What do you think people most misunderstand about taking control of their own healing journey?
I think people misunderstand that it has to become a life habit. You have to trust your own body, your innate intelligence of your body, and you trust your gut, you trust your heart. And then you just learn what it wants. You just kind of say, what is right for me today? And your body will tell you. I've been vegetarian. I've eaten meat. At the moment I have bone broth because I think it's a really important part of my diet. But I think people have just misunderstood how powerful they are because their power was taken away by the powers that be. And we were taught, I was taught as a child that you kind of worshipped your doctor like you did the clergy, kind of and school teachers and policemen and, all these things that we're brought up and we're taught to worship, and they're right. And they're kind of like God. And they're not.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It is fascinating. When we see this everywhere we go, the last couple of years, it's been really evident, especially during COVID, this deference to authority and people unwilling to ask their own questions. And on this point, how do you think the last few years and over the COVID chapter, especially during that time, has woken people up to the need for natural health solutions? Do you think this has been a catalyst for people now taking greater sovereignty of their own health?
Not fast enough. Really not fast enough. We need a lot more people to take sovereignty over their own health. There is still a reluctance with people because the thing with the doctor is it's a quick fix. It's just like, here's a tablet and you go, okay, that's going to work. Now, there is an element of placebo. So for some people, the tablets will work. And, and sometimes there are medicines that work. It's just that all meds have side effects. And so when you start on one, you're going to need another one. Somebody like my mum was on 17 tablets a day by the time she died. And all of them were for side effects, apart from the first one. So I think that people do need to wake up more. But the problem is that once you've had this faith in a doctor, you've lost your own faith. Do you know what I mean? You've lost your ability to trust yourself. And so to actually take back that power and that control when you've been programmed is incredibly hard. And that's what I'm trying to do. Help people kind of go, do you know what? I can do this. I can, I'm really clever.
Yes, it's important. Really, what you've just talked about is personal responsibility. And interestingly, yesterday I took my son Zach out for a morning. I have him every Wednesday morning just because he's in nursery the other 4 days. And Lizzie and I split time with him on a Wednesday, which is beautiful. And I took him out to this wonderful place called Upton Park, and they've got a lovely cafe there. I'm less restrictive from what he eats, but I'm very restrictive from what I eat. I'm trying to model that example, but I literally walked into this cafe and I couldn't. It took me 5 minutes to find a single item that I could eat because of just it was bombarded wall to wall sugar, fake foods, and I was like, oh my goodness. At this point, I'd been out for several hours in the sun chasing my son around. I was hungry. One item that qualified under my kind of protocols that I follow. So it's tough. It takes real discipline and sovereignty. So I'm curious from your point of view, how does reclaiming our health actually help us to reclaim our sovereignty more broadly?
Well, I think that once you've reclaimed your health, once you've decided that you're not within that system, that medical system, it gives you an incredible power to know that you don't really have to be in any system, that you can claim back your sovereignty. And the one way that the government, or the people that say they're our government, the one way that they control us is by making us sick. We are poisoned from every single direction, as you know, the skies, the soil, the water. Everywhere they can, they poison us. And so once you start cleaning yourself out, getting rid of those poisons, now we can't live a toxic-free existence. We can't, we just have to look up at the sky and we know that's not the case. We can filter our water. We can eat organic, but even organic, there are chemicals. And if you're spraying the sky, there's nothing organic. So, you have to detox. That is a really important part, every day, just detoxing a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's hard, but you don't want to be, for me, I don't want to be on that heavy detox the whole time because it made me unhappy. So I just have to kind of go, okay, so I've got my spirulina, my chlorella, and I've got this and, kind of whatever I do. And I might do a, kind of fasting, as puts your body into autophagy. So I think that just by taking our health back, our sovereignty is completely empowered because they don't have the power over us to say, you've got to be medicated. And when they medicate you, you look at fluoride. Fluoride is, a medical intervention. And when you look at that, it's a waste product from industry that is so expensive that it can't be dumped or put anywhere in the world, without massive fines. So they created it and did, science papers to say that it was good for us. And then, I remember, it was a while ago now, so the figure will be a lot higher, but, New York a few years ago spent $12 million buying in fluoride, which was basically a waste product. So once you've actually understood this and you're not being poisoned, then you can take that poison out of your mind as well and just go, I'm a free sovereign being. Actually, you can't control me because I don't need your doctors. I don't need your crappy food in the supermarket. I don't need you. I'm out of that system. And so, that's why I said at the beginning, really important that you never buy food in a supermarket. Occasionally there might be, a panic buy. If my daughter's coming down, I know there's a shop near me that sells organic bananas and she loves a lot of bananas, so I have to buy more. It's one of those fruits that, you buy too many and they all go brown and bad. And then if you don't get enough in, my daughter comes out. So, there are very few occasions that you can do that. But literally just empowering yourself, finding your veggie box, your organic veggie box. I use Riverford. And I've always had the mantra, Riverford don't sell it, I don't eat it unless I've grown it myself. So it's just really important to take back that control. Once you've done that, they don't have the same control over you. Because you're not needy. You're not there like, oh, I need help. Please help me. You're just like, I don't need your help, mate.
Well, I think that's a very important point. I think on the flip side of that, the challenge for people is when they do have this awakening and start to embrace a path of natural healing and natural health, it can become equally overwhelming because you've gone from the simplicity of what the doctor says and the magic pill to then having to learn about nutrition, healthy habits, lifestyle, and it's a vast field, and there's a lot to get your head around. So, what I'm curious to talk to you about now is how things like the Wellness Way Festival, which is coming up very, very shortly. In fact, next week, if you're actually watching this the day this is published, it's less than a week away. Which will
8th to the 10th of August. I'm just going to get that in, Dan. 8th to the 10th of August.
I couldn't remember the date, so I was like, I just hover until you say it. Even though I'm going to be there on the 8th, so it works.
Yeah, you should know that.
For someone navigating this field, whether they're experienced in the area or brand new to understanding about natural health, or in fact, let's talk about people who are just starting their journey. They're post-pandemic, they've lost trust in the system, and they're trying to orientate themselves in this world. What can a festival like the Wellness Way help people to do when it comes to reclaiming their health? How does this play a role? And what will this gathering bring that can help people orientate this complex web practices?
Yeah. So what I've done is, as you know, in 2020, I was so shocked at what happened that I wrote my book, The Natural Wellness Journal, which charts over 50 of the modalities that I did to heal myself. And I've made it so simple. So you can just kind of take that on board. And then I started my podcast. And then as the podcast has progressed and, it's over 3 years now, I just thought, what is the next level that we can take it to? And so I thought, right, I'm going to bring my podcast guests together and we're going to talk, but we're going to do something else. And I've got something else going on before the festival on the Tuesday, the 5th. I have a health hub at the College of Naturopathic Medicine. So I've got Barbara O'Neill, the brilliant naturopath, Barbara O'Neill, coming to the UK. And the health hub is just Barbara and I, but the festival, I've bought this lineup of everybody that I have learned from. So, we've got Barbara there. We've got Charles Dowding talking about the soil and how the soil affects the gut. We've got Gaz Oakley, chef extraordinaire, who's going to kind of teach us about homesteading and living off the land. We've got breathwork, Soma breathwork flying in because breath work is another one of my daily essentials, along with tapping, because I'm a mad tapper. We've got loads of tappers there. But just Melinda Messenger talking about dreams. I've just brought every different thing together, loads of practitioners and, all the traders that are there, all the wonderful exhibitors, they're products that I use. I'm not I haven't just opened this up and said, right, you can come and sell at my festival. It's like, right, what are your ingredients? There's only one candle company in the UK I use, and she's in holiday that week. So it's like, okay, we won't sell candles. And they're going, oh yeah, but I'm all vegan and natural, wonderful essential oils. I'm going, yeah, but it's soy based, and 85% of the world's soy is GMO. I don't want to be sitting there with a candle burning, breathing in glyphosate. Once you know how to look for all of these things, poor Sam Fairs has had a terrible rap in the Daily Mail about not putting sunblock on her children. When you look at the fact that, just take an average woman will put 136 chemicals on her body every day before she leaves the house. Then you look at the biggest carcinogenic product in your home. It's fabric softener. Fabric softener is so toxic. You don't need it. It's just, all those cleaning products that, I used to think, well, I have a bit of bleach on my unit, get it really clean. Toxic. You just take this out. And so, some of my clothes don't come as clean as they used to. My whites might not be bright white, but I don't care. So I'm just bringing everybody together that can teach everything about this so that we can just go, okay, what can you do? What's your bag? And that's what you have to find. Just go, what is the simple habit I can take today and put into my life?
Yeah, that's really powerful to connect face to face with, natural health practitioners, people who live and breathe this every single day, products that can help us, because that's a minefield in itself. So it sounds like an a la carte buffet of, really, really, really powerful products that people can learn about and explore. But what's the experience going to be like? Tell us about, what can people expect to see, feel, connect with? Tell us about, how it's going to, what the experience is going to unroll.
We are connecting with Mother Nature and Earth and each other. And it's a very special time of the year that I've chosen. And that's that we're opening the Lionsgate portal. So it's on its way now. And then at 8:00 on the 8th of the 8th, on the Friday, we've got the lovely AJ Roberts there. And we're going to just open that portal together. We've got Ollie Ollerton there teaching us about the power of quantum physics and how to use it to break, your break point to go through. We've got Liam Brown from Full Power Cacao doing the cacao ceremony. We've got Danny Rampling DJing. We've got live bands. We are just going to have so much fun because we will never, ever learn to heal if we're in fear. So I do not want this to be a weekend about fear. This is a weekend about empowering you, gaining knowledge, having fun, singing, dancing, doing pottery. We've got pottery there. We've got forest school for children. We've got absolutely everything, every modality that you could possibly have. We've got the Seed Sisters there, and they're going to take people out on a forage in the morning. And they've got their wonderful silver 1950s American van, which is going to be our herb hub. So, kind of wild water swimming. We've got the brilliant Emma Strayer there, who's Wim Hof's right-hand woman. So this is a separate experience, a paid-for experience, but we've done it as cheap as we can. We're literally just covering the cost of hiring the lake. But you'll go and do breath work with Emma, the Wim Hof technique method, and then just wild water swim, and then have a beautiful organic smoothie. Yeah, we've got a beautiful smoothie bar. The chefs that we've got, coming in. These are not traders. This is all organic food, or predominantly organic food. And then we've got the lovely Moon in what we're calling Phyllis Kitchen in the main cafe. And on the Saturday and the Sunday, she's going to do a workshop. So you can actually go in there. You can book this experience, and this experience is free. You just go in there and work with her and her chefs and see how to cook proper, clean food. And then at 1:30 on the Sunday, if we're running on time, we're going to take Gaz Oakley and Charles Dowding, and Dr. Sam Watts is another one, Dr. Jenny Goodman, all of these people that can teach us so much. And we're all going to go into Phyllis Kitchen and we're going to do a big live Q&A. And then I have a membership as well, Dan. So for my members, because obviously this is going to be busy, but for my members, we're also going to do a special Q&A with Barbara O'Neill on Thursday night. So, because a lot of people go to these events, and we will do Q&As with Barbara at both the Health Hub and at the festival, because I think it's really important that people ask questions that are relevant to them. So, it's kind of getting your own personal doctor, but there's over 60 speakers, workshops. We're covering grief, we have some more serious ones in the year. So, people that are suffering from grief, suffering from child sexual abuse, kind of really bad traumas. We've got safe spaces that will be held, ancestral trauma. All of those safe spaces will be held so that you can go and do the work. And then there'll be supporters there. I've got a big tapping team so that anybody that needs our support has got it. And then we need you to come and party like it's 1999.
Well, it's an incredible vision. And I what you've put together is incredible. And I want to link it back to the change you want to see in the world, because you've said that healing bodies is just part of the story. This is actually about healing culture. What's your hope for the ripple effect that this festival will have in the broader culture?
Well, we have collective consciousness. So we are all connected, and everything is connected. I'm connected to that plant and to the trees outside. Everything is connected. And so we have the ripple effect. And once we start lifting the energy vibration, once we start joining together in complete unity as people, and people, we can't look at color. We can't look at religion. We can't look at any of that anymore. We have just got to go. We're some people say God's people, but, Mother Nature's, we came out of the soil. We'll go back to the soil. It's that simple. And then what we do in between is just have to bring everybody together so that we can build this new world. And I do believe we can build this new world. I mean, those bastards are going to give us a good run for our money, but, we are so powerful.
Well, speaking of that, I'm curious to know about the media response to the festival, because and really explore the idea. Do you think the idea that the wellness culture actually is under attack? Do you believe that to be true?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. So, I've just had an article in the Daily Mail. Now I went seeking that, and I knew it would be a risky thing to do. But for me, I just want to bring people together. One of the reasons I did it is I had a friend, and she clears houses of entities, and the Daily Mail did a piece on her, and it was a complete hatchet job. And they made her out to be this crazy, mad, barking woman. But she had 2 years full bookings afterwards. So I thought, do you know what? I don't care if people think I'm mad. I've seen it. It's not a nice article. It's not one I'm it's just very focused on a section of my life when I was in a lot of pain, and I was a shit wife and I was a shit mother. But I've had that conversation with my children just before the feature came out, and they said, you weren't shit, you were ill. I went, yeah, you're right. I was ill. Bless you. Thank you for understanding that. But, all of these things are, they focus very much on the negativity of what you've done, and they don't focus on the positivity of what you've become and what you're trying to do. We know that you can't use certain words. I got banned off TikTok right back in 2021 for posts that included the health benefits of radishes, stinging nettles, and breath work. And you're just going, really? You're really going to take those down? It's like, they did. So there is a huge hit on natural health at the moment, because they don't want you to know that you can be healthy. And so that's why it's brilliant. Dan, thank you for having me on your podcast. People come and find my podcast because, mine's just on health. I'm getting out as much as I possibly can, you know, and not just, kind of information. I'm giving you inspiring stories. You know, I've just put, Jade Horton up, and when I read her email to me, I wept like a baby, because what this woman went through was so unbelievable. And it's just like, I've got to have you on my show. Basically, her children were killed in a house fire, and she was on the top floor, and people were screaming at her to jump. And she was on the window ledge, and the window ledge was melting and burning her body. And they're going, jump, 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 Jade. So she thought her children were out. So she had to jump for her children, but they weren't. They were dead. And she broke her spine in 4 places. She broke all her ribs. She broke all her toes. She landed literally on her feet and her bum, and then just heard the cracking as her body went. And when she eventually came round, they said to her, you know, we're really sorry, your children, because she was screaming for her children. They're dead, and you'll never walk again. And she went, no, you don't tell me that. And they said, but you can never walk again. 14 weeks later, she took her first steps, because she was so determined that she had lost her children. She wasn't going to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. She had only jumped for her children, and now she had to do something for her. And so I tell these incredibly inspiring stories. And then we have a good old gossip about things like, you know, what's in a vaccine? What's an adjuvant? You know, we cover the whole lot. What's fluoride? We've got fluoride out next week. And then in 4 weeks' time, I've got this lovely lady, and I haven't had time to do it yet, but she's given me all the things I've got to do, but I'm really busy, but how to reverse my eyesight so I don't need glasses. So I need to start doing the work. It's just, I need to stop every 2 hours and spend 10 minutes, which would send, but only for a week. It's just, I haven't had a week recently.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Philly,
just a festival to do.
Yes. Well, the festival really sounds like a gathering of all these great conversations that you've had, all in one space for one beautiful weekend, 8th to the 10th of August. I'm looking forward to being there on the Friday, hosting our panel. So come and say hello. I'll be walking around on my mic as well, and doing some interviews with the speakers and the participants. And we're looking forward to connecting some of our audience there. Now, by the time this is released, you know, it's less than a week to go. For someone listening to this, thinks this sounds really exciting, but I'm not sure whether I can make it. What's the thing that you would say that would tip them over the edge and cross that fence and decide to join us in Ways and Parts?
You have a choice in life. You have a choice whether you kind of go, what am I going to put first in my life? And the person you have to put first in your life is you and your health, because you are no good to anybody else unless you're healthy. I mean, I look back at those years in bed when I was just an appalling mother because I didn't have my own health. And so the one thing, you know, whether you're, you know, a daughter, a mother, a sister, a brother, you know, whatever you are, you owe it to yourself just to come and learn this information and go, okay, I can change this world. You know, there's that great Anita Roddick quote from Body Shop, the lady who founded Body Shop. And I used to have it written on my bedroom wall. And it says, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try going to bed with a mosquito in the room. Well, I'm that mosquito. You're that mosquito. Your audience is that mosquito. And we need to get together, and we just need to buzz and build this new world, because we cannot, at this moment in time, we cannot afford not to. We can't be complacent now. So much legislation, so much is happening so quickly that we have got together, and we've got to get together, and we've got to build these communities for us and the future generations.
Powerful call to action, Philly. Now tell us where people need to go to get their tickets and come and join us next week.
So for the Wellness Way Festival, head over to, I don't think it's cool to say www. anymore. I think you just say, so my children keep going, that's not cool, mother. thewellnesswayfestival.com. And for the Health Hub with Barbara O'Neill, go to phillyjlay.com. And that's the letter J, not the word. So you can find me on Instagram, on Philly J Lay, the Wellness Way podcast, and now the Wellness Way Festival. So just come and find us.
Absolutely. And we got a special discount for our audience as well, for those of you looking to join us at DAG 15. Is that right?
That's the one.
Yeah.
For their 15% discount.
Get a 15% discount on the ticket. So if what Philly has just said is not enough, then get the 15% discount to tip you over the edge. Come and see all of these incredible speakers. Come and say hello to myself and Philly and be part of this incredible experience. So grab your ticket today. We'll see you there. Get yourself packed and ready to go. This weekend is a great time to get prepared. When we ran Camp Out, and Philly was part of our Camp Out, we had people literally signing up the day before, and in fact on the day of the event, because they suddenly realized they didn't want to miss out on this magical experience. And I'm sure, if you're watching this on Sunday, or you're watching this a day before we go live, then come and join us. It's going to be a great experience. And
we're also selling, sorry to interrupt, we're also selling day tickets. So if you listen to us on the Friday, you can still come and join us for the Saturday or the Sunday. Just come along, get your butt down there. Let's join the evolution. It's not a revolution. This is an evolution.
Absolutely. You're going to find the links that Philly's talked about in the descriptions. Look out for those below. Philly, it's been a beautiful time speaking this morning, and looking forward to seeing you in person next Friday at the Wellness Way Festival. Really excited for the inaugural event. It sounds like such a spectacular experience. I'm gutted that I can't stay for 100% of the thing, but I'm going to dive all in for every moment I'm going to be there. So really,
I know.
See as many of you there as we can next week. So come and say hi, and keep up the good work. I know you'll have a lot of work to do in the next week. So keep rolling. You got this.
Oh, Dan, thank you. Always a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you, my darling.